The magical art of emailing on today's episode. Today's episode is brought to you by Digit. Save money without thinking about it. Get paid $5 just for signing up at servenomaster.com/digit today.
Are you tired of dealing with your boss? Do you feel underpaid and underappreciated? If you want to make it online, fire your boss and start living your retirement dreams now, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Serve No Master Podcast, where you'll learn how to open new revenue streams and make money while you sleep. Presented live from a tropical island in the South Pacific by best-selling author Jonathan Green. Now, here's your host.
The first time I sent an email and made $1,000 in profit the next day was one of the most amazing and life-changing moments in my life. I suddenly realized that making real money, making big money online, wasn't just some idea, some faraway concept, some amazing magical promise. You really could get to a point where with the push of a button, you could make massive amounts of money, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, even hundreds of thousands of dollars, when you have the right list, the right number of people, and the right promotion or offer to share with them. The sky is absolutely the limit. I realized that it's possible to live an amazing life where your entire job just boils down to writing and emailing one message a day. So simple, so powerful. And in fact, you can automate this entire process to build something magical that makes money for you 365 days a year without you touching anything. You can create an entire magical and automated process. When you do this, you begin to live what I call La Vida List life. It's a magical life where you really do make money pushing a button, and it's as close to that magical idea as you can get. The problem is that it takes a long time to create a business where you push a button to drive income. We're going to get there together. It's not an instant quick fix, but you will get to a point where your income becomes magical when you follow this simple process. And it begins by understanding the technology. There's two main tools that I like to talk about, Aweber and GetResponse. They're both very powerful in their own ways. They're called emailing softwares, or I call them autoresponders, because they automatically respond with emails on your behalf, and they manage everything for you. When you get an email address from a customer or a lead or a potential customer, you can manually send them emails yourself. And this is how people used to do it 5, 10, 20 years ago. You would have a series of messages inside your Word document, and you would copy and paste the message. So you'd say you send a welcome message and here's your login details. Then the next day you send a, did you get all your login details? Is everything working email? Everything would be done manually, and it's very difficult to control that yourself. If I tried to manually email every single person who purchased a product from me, or grabbed one of my free gifts from one of my products, or asked a question and tried to download something from one of my books or sources, it would be impossible to respond in a timely manner. Like every other human, I sleep 7, 8, 10 hours a day. I'm not awake 24/7. If a customer buys a product from me 5 minutes after I go to sleep, do they want to wait 7 or 8 hours for me to wake up, see that email, manually create their membership login, and then send it to them? Of course not. People want immediacy. People want something right now. They don't want to wait. If I buy a product and I don't get login details within 10 minutes, I start to get itchy. If I don't hear back from the product creator within an hour, I start freaking out and trying to get a refund. And this is how most people behave. We want immediate replies. To give people that level of satisfaction and to email them appropriately, we want to use a piece of software or tool. An autoresponder will send them an email based on a schedule we develop. You can send that instant welcome email. You can instantly deliver the free gift. You can instantly send them a series of coaching emails. The best thing about these types of software, these tools that I use, they pay attention to the time zone of the recipient. They pay attention to when the recipient opens messages. You can tell your autoresponder to send the person a message based on the time when they first found you. If you first give me your email address at 2 p.m. Eastern, the next email will come the next day at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's how the relationship begins, because that's when you're most likely to open an email, because that's when we interfaced before. Sending an email when everyone's asleep, it doesn't always work very well. Trying to send emails on wrong time zones, and sometimes the people miss them. We get so many emails every day that things can drift through. The amazing thing about this technology is that it allows you to write tons of emails in advance. You can write thousands of emails, put them all into a system, and everything is automated. You could design a system that sends someone an email every day for the next 365 days. And that's really beautiful. That's what we want to move towards, because then you don't have to constantly come up with new ideas. There are really two types of messages you can send. There's the broadcast email. If I send a broadcast email, everyone gets the exact same message on the exact same day. I write a message today and I send it today. I can schedule it for a certain day in the future, but everyone on the list, everyone who I select, gets the message at the same time. An autoresponder email is where people get the same message at different times based on where they are in my relationship with them. If you have 31 emails that you send to people, we have an entire month of messages. Anyone signs up, they get that initial day 0 email. The next day, day 1 or day +1, they get the first email in the sequence. So day 1 is where you send a thank you email, you send download information or login information. After that, you begin your sequence. That's how most of these services count. So I've learned that the day they fill in the information is called day 0, just how it is. You then send them messages for 31 days. If someone joins today, they'll get message 0 today. If someone joins in 2 weeks, they'll get message 0 in 2 weeks. This is how you can send messages to people based on where they are in your relationship. If you opt in on my homepage of my website and ask to join my Quit Your Job Bootcamp, you get a series of 7 emails designed to really help you kickstart your efforts to leave your job behind. If you join today, you'll get 7 emails starting today. If you wait a week, you'll get 7 emails starting then. With your initial emails, you want to form a relationship and begin to build a powerful connection. And this is called cultivating a list or building a tribe, and very, very important if you want to succeed online. My entire business model heavily favors the tribe style business model. There's 2 spectrums, quantity and quality. Many people want to have the biggest email list they can get. I know people who have a list of over 100,000 email subscribers, and they will tell anyone who asks the size of their list. That information is exciting, but it's also completely worthless. It doesn't matter how many people you have on your list. It matters how many people open your messages. If you have 100,000 subscribers and 1% of them open each email, I have 1,500 subscribers and 100% of them open, I have a much higher response rate. I get 1,500 reads where you're only getting 1,000. The size of the list doesn't matter, and this is where bigger marketers try to hide reality. It doesn't matter that. And with these tools, with Aweber and GetResponse, and I have links on my website showing you some tutorials and how they work and why I use each of them in different ways. And honestly, they're basically exactly the same thing. You just choose one that you like the feel of more. I tend to use GetResponse more now, but occasionally for projects, I do use Aweber. They're the tools I like. There are other more advanced versions of these software, but they cost a lot more money. And they're really not necessary until you're making more than $5,000 a day. There's really no reason to jump up to the more expensive tools. You end up taking a loss on those tools for a very long time. It's not necessary. Cultivating your list is about giving value before you ask for anything. You can form a list, get a bunch of opt-ins, get people's information many, many different ways, selling cheap products, giving away free gifts, all of these different things. And then you can just pound that list with offers. Every day you offer them a new tool, a new piece of software, a new recommendation. 1 week it's all about getting into Facebook advertising. And the next minute, no, Facebook is dead. You need to get into Google advertising. No, advertising, paid traffic is dead. You need to do search engine optimization. Every week you're told the stuff from last week is dead. You need to buy something new. You get driven and pushed like a lemming through shiny object syndrome until you fall off the cliff. This is how many, many people market to their lists. This is how many people approach their lists. They see it as a stone. They have to squeeze as much blood out of it as possible before the people catch on and quit. That is the wrong mindset, and that is a short-term mindset. At Serve No Master, my entire model is about building a long-term relationship, building a real business that will last a long time, and developing relationships that will last decades. I want you to listen to this podcast in 10, 20, and 30 years. I want you to be with me for the 1,000th and 10,000th episode. That mindset alters my approach to my list, alters my emailing approach. You want to give as much value as possible before you ever ask for anything. If you focus on giving first, the money will happen on its own. It becomes very easy to build that army of raving followers, those people that will do anything to maintain their connection with you and support you. If you have a list of 1,000 powerful followers who are part of your tribe, they will financially support you for the rest of your life. You don't even need to find that 1,001st follower. You don't need a single other person. Focus on what your audience needs and give it to them. Give them value in the form of blog posts, informational emails, meeting with them on social media, answering to their emails, connecting with them in a valuable way, and building trust. The more your audience trusts you, the easier everything else is. When you release your next product in 3 or 6 months, they'll all buy it simply because they like you. People will buy stuff from you based on how much they like you, far more than they'll buy stuff based on how excited they are about the sales materials. If people really like you, you can have a really inferior sales page and they'll just buy it. That's what's so amazing. You don't have to focus as much on copyright. Now, that's a great business to get into. I talked in a previous episode about how to form an entire career around copywriting. But if you're a content marketer, if the thought of writing sales letters feels daunting to you, don't worry. Building that relationship minimizes the need for flashy sales graphics and complicated sales message. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can just be yourself, be honest, and the sales and the profits will actually roll in. People will buy from you because they trust you. And when your emails are strong, your free content is strong, they know that your products are going to be strong. And when everything is strong, honest, powerful, and works, the machine becomes something that can last a long time and what you have is a business rather than just an idea. Most email lists burn out. People will join your email list and it has a lifetime, a lifespan. Some email lists, the average person stays 10 days. Sometimes they stay 2 years. For some email lists, people just stop reading. They push all of your messages to spam or junk and stop thinking about it. We don't want any of those things to happen. What we want to form is a real connection. And the way to form a connection is to send emails from a real email address. And when people respond to you, you respond back. I've received several emails just this week from people who started off calling me out to say, you say in your messages you really respond to emails, you're actually going to do it? And when I responded, they were both surprised. It's amazing how people, even when I say over and over again, no, I really do respond to every email myself, don't expect it. They're so surprised. And I always respond almost always within 24 hours because I check email once a day. I check email every morning. First thing I do when I wake up, I check my email for 20 minutes, 40 minutes, and then I don't check it again for the rest of the day. It's something that took me a long time to get to. I used to be one of those people that checked email 20, 30 times a day. I had all my email accounts synced to my iPhone. My phone would buzz all the time. I wanted to be alerted every time I got an email, no matter what, because every email is so important. I became a slave to my email. It took me a very long time to break those chains and transition to a life where I'm in total control of my experience. I don't need to check email every hour. I don't get emergency emails. The truth is, if it's an emergency, people will call me or text me. People will reach out to me on Skype. There's other ways that have a sense of immediacy to them. If it's really important, people will communicate that way. Many of us let email take up 5, 6, 7 hours of our day. It becomes the biggest part of our day, the monster that controls all of our time. We don't want to do that. So as you build your list, as you develop a relationship with your people, the more they see the real you, the more you keep your word, the easier everything becomes. If I told everyone that I reply to emails personally and then I didn't, I would slowly begin to erode my trust. And when you break trust with your list, trust with your tribe, trust with your fan base, it's nearly impossible to recover. I mentioned in a previous episode talking about tribe building, what happened when that guy who wrote A Million Little Pieces got caught and people found out this story he'd written about his life and recovering from addiction was totally false. He'd written a fictional story and then said it was a true story. When people found out it wasn't real, he broke trust. And now no one has any interest in him anymore. His entire career went straight to the moon and crashed and burned. That's what happens when you break trust. If you violate the relationship with your audience, it can be very difficult and really impossible to recover it. You have to start over again. When you're looking for things to promote to your audience, people will come to you all the time. As soon as anyone knows you have a list, they'll beg you to promote their offers. I get emails every single day, 7 days a week, asking me to promote stuff. And I can tell that the product creator assumes I have no integrity because their sales page is junk, their product doesn't fit my audience at all, and the product probably doesn't even work. I don't do business with people like that. These people don't care about their audience, and they also don't care about their affiliates or their business partners. They don't care about my perspective or my integrity. They're trying to make a quick buck, and they don't care. I avoid people like that like the plague. Right now, I'm going through a transition in my business. I discovered that there's a major problem with one of my software platforms. My entire membership site, while I was asleep last night, all the videos disappeared. The code is still there, but there's a glitch inside the server. They're not showing for my customers, and it broke my heart. I worked personally very, very hard to rebuild that membership site. I don't want to break trust with my audience. I don't want to let people down. It's very important for me to deliver on my promises. So all I've been working on all morning is transitioning my platform. I'm moving to a brand new host, a new company that's more expensive but more powerful. There are a lot of hosting companies out there, and some of them offer me a great deal of money to promote their service to you. The company I switched to, if I recommend them, they offer a small amount of money. That's all right. They offer me a little bit of commission, and it's who I actually use. It's who I trust right now. I'm moving my entire business to their platform. I've wanted to be an affiliate for this company for a while because I knew they're very good, but I've never said the name of them. And in fact, right now I'm transitioning my website from my old server to my new. So technically, while I'm recording this, I'm not fully hosted with this new company. It's in the transition phase. I already started the transition. The technicians are handling it, but it's going to take a couple more hours. So I'm not going to say the name of the host just yet, but eventually I'll recommend them on my site. Their main competitor, who I would never use, will pay me 5 or 10 times more money if I recommend them. It's a moment of integrity where the money becomes tempting if you haven't established who you are up front. I don't recommend products that I don't believe in. I don't recommend products that I don't use. I very rarely recommend other people's software, programs, and things. I could host a webinar every week and make a lot more money than I do. But in the long term, it hurts your audience. If I told you every week a different way to build a business online, you would be overwhelmed. You wouldn't be able to accomplish everything. You wouldn't be able to ever achieve anything. One week you'd be trying to finish one course, then before you can finish, you get excited about the next one. And this creates a cycle where you're spending more money than you need to, and you never finish anything, and you never actually succeed. My business model is heavily invested on you succeeding. My business structure is that I want to teach you how to make $1,000 a month on your own without you buying anything from me. Once you've made that money, I want you to invest from those profits in my more expensive courses where we take that 1,000 to 5 and then take that 5 to 50. That's my business model. It's totally built upon you spending from profits. And in some of the next few episodes, I'm going to show you deeper ways to do that and exactly why that creates a business that has longevity. And that's what we want to build with our emailing system, with the way we email people. Cultivation, trust, and honest recommendations are very, very important. You will see opportunities to recommend things that you don't use or don't really believe in. Certain products that aren't very good will offer you more money to make up for that, and they will tempt people. You want to prepare in advance for that moment where you realize you could send an email out about something that you don't really believe in and make $10,000. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of temptation. And if you don't prepare yourself for that temptation at the beginning, when you hit that moment, it will be very hard. Take the long view. The long-term relationship is far more profitable. You can make $1,000 selling people stuff very quickly that doesn't work, or you can make $10,000 over the course of a 20-year relationship. If I turn you into a millionaire, do you really care that over the course of our relationship, you spent 10 grand building your way up my pyramid? Of course not. As long as you're helping people, as long as you're giving value, and as long as your material works, as long as the systems you teach work, as long as your products work, as long as you have deep integrity, then you can build a very, very powerful business. Everything I teach on these podcasts is something I believe. I often reveal exactly my business strategy behind my emailing, behind my products. I tell you everything. I don't hide things. There's no secondary secret layer behind what I share with you. I want to build a business that lasts. And I know that the more I reveal with you, the more I demonstrate my integrity, because when you notice that I really do reply to emails, you realize that I'm true. When you try to buy a product from me that you can't afford and I refuse it, you'll know that I'm serious. I don't let people build their debt and grow their debt. There's no way I would do that to someone. I practice what I preach because it works. I have a very successful business and I have a great life right now. And I want the exact same thing for you. Maintaining your integrity, growing your list, emailing about products, services that you actually believe in. That's how you can live La Vida List life. And that's the fabulous, magical art of emailing.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Serve No Master. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss another episode. And we'll be back next Tuesday with more tips and tactics on how to escape that rat race. Head over to servenomaster.com/podcasts now for your chance to win a free copy of Jonathan's bestseller, Serve No Master. All you have to do is leave a 5-star review of this podcast. See you Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Serve No Master podcast. Join me on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Serve No Master.